So what would you include if you only had 7 or 8 miracles to tell the story of Jesus, to communicate who Jesus was and what he does and how he cares about us and how he loves us? I think I would include dramatic healings. Lazarus and the little girl and the lepers and the paralyzed people. And maybe I'd include one of the instances where Jesus multiplies bread and loaves and feeds 5,000 people, showing the abundance of God. But when John gets an opportunity, and when he gets an opportunity to list what the first miracle of Jesus is, he has Jesus creating 750 bottles of wine at a wedding feast because they ran out. It's completely different than what I would have thought is, hey, this is the most important one. This is what I want to do first. But John includes this because he wants to show Jesus in the midst of everyday life. He wants to show Jesus involved in the daily lives of people because it matters to God. Our everyday life matters to God. And so that's the message for us that John is trying to show us, is that Jesus is in the midst of our celebrations. Jesus in the midst of our lives, trying to help us see abundance, creating abundance in the midst of that. And if our everyday celebrations matter, how much more does it matter to God when one of God's children is hurting and weeping and mourning? It matters to God, and God is in the midst of that, trying to help us see God's abundance even in the midst of sorrow. An abundance that stretches into eternity, that envelops us without believers from every time and place and creates a community. And that's what John is trying to show us, the abundance of God and Jesus involved in everyday life, because everyday life matters to God. And so your everyday life matters to God because God loves you with a depth and a breadth that we cannot fathom this side of eternity.